Hey buns, so patch 5.3 is out, and wow, what an emotional roller coaster it has been. I did record myself doing the main story quest off stream, so I'm going to be taking time in the next few days going through all of that footage and putting it into a big main story quest reaction video that will be the next video I release, hopefully early next week. In that video, I'll also talk about the normal version of the new trial, as the normal version has a big juicy spoilery cutscene right in the middle of it. So yeah, it's okay. Well, I'll save all that discussion for the story reaction video, but I will talk about the extreme version of the trial, which I cleared last night and does not have the spoilery cutscene in it. So I can talk about that. Other things that I will talk about today in this sort of first impressions video is the Sorrow of Werlyt, which is the continuation of the Ruby weapon story, this time talking about the Sapphire weapon, the Near Raid Puppets Bunker, the Dwarf Feast Tribe, Unreal Shiva, and the new dungeon mechanics and bosses without context. Without you knowing the context or why we're there, you'll have a hard time figuring it out. About the main story quest, obviously, there's not a lot I can say. Most of that will be saved for the separate video, like I said. But as I tweeted, without spoilers, Shadowbringers is the best game ever. I really do feel like that. I felt so many different emotions. I cried so many different kinds of tears. I cried happy tears, sad tears, like worried tears, like the tears of me feeling just very emotionally moved. And wow, what a ride. I feel incredibly satisfied with the ending. I feel like it was fitting and it made me think, like, how could any story ever top this? Like, how could they possibly ever make an expansion that's going to be better than this? I think that probably most of us feel like that right now. Like, as amazing as I know that the writers are, they really set that bar so high. And by the way, I know a lot of people hear me say, oh, Shadowbringers is the best game ever, and they hear a lot of good things about Shadowbringers, and they're like, oh, well, I better rush to Shadowbringers right now. I better buy a skip, and I better just skip everything up till I get to Shadowbringers because I heard that's the good part. Don't do that. Because one of the reasons that Shadowbringers is really good is because it builds on all that we've learned and experienced from past expansions. Like, you build these relationships with characters throughout the game, and in Shadowbringers you get a lot of payoff for that, and that's part of why I feel it's such a successful story, why it's such a satisfying story. I mean, think about how this current phase of the main story quest requires that you have completed the Crystal Tower raid series, which, by the way, do that if you haven't, and that was released back in Realm Reborn. So that should tell you, like, this is a story that spans a lot of time, and you will appreciate it more if you just go through it the way that most of us did. Level, try to get the most out of the story that you're experiencing right now, and in time you will see how the characters grow and change and evolve, and you will appreciate them so much more. Speaking of leveling, yes, this patch did add Realm Reborn flying, and of course the revamp for Realm Reborn. I think it's still probably too early for us to really know how significant this revamp has been or how successful it's been, but the flying in Realm Reborn areas definitely took me by surprise. I was leaving the Rising Stones and, like, I just jumped with my spacebar and my mount started flying, and I was like, whoa. Oh wow, that's right, they added flying. That's pretty sweet. The new extreme version of the trial, I think I got incredibly lucky in Party Finder last night. I joined a random pug group and it said most people here are blind, practice from the start. 3%. Oh my god. What the fuck is this? True Hollowed Ground? What is that? LB! Oh my god! Oh my god! But everybody in there was really good natured, really patient, working together, laughing off wipes, learning from our mistakes. And everybody seemed to be pretty quick, catching on, learning very quickly. So like I said, I think I got incredibly lucky. But the fight itself, I'm happy with the difficulty that it's at. It felt right, and it was just a blast to play through. I had so much fun with it. I always like fights that have chaos mechanics, where, like, you get to a phase and then there's like 4 different phases that the boss might go into, and that's something that happens in this fight. And I think it just keeps things interesting, keeps the fight from getting too stale. It's always funny having this moment where you're like, oh, okay, I have this fight figured out, and then something completely random you've never seen before shows up, and you're like, wait. Also, gosh, the song, the music, I think that might be some of my favorite music that I've heard in the whole expansion. It's a fantastic experience, and I look forward to farming it for the mount. I will say I did look at the weapons that are dropped, and I don't think that they're that impressive looking. Maybe they'll look different outside of the fitting room and more glowy, but I was kind of meh. Onto the Sorrow of Werlyt. That was really fun. Yes, I was surprised that they decided to make it a completely solo experience. It's not a trial this time. It's just you pilot a mech, and you have these really cool cutscenes where you're like inside the mech talking to Gaius. My keybinds are really wonky for the pet actions bar where the abilities go for your mech. So I plugged in the PS4 controller to my PC and had a really fun time doing that little encounter there. Also thought the city you get to visit was really unique architecture and has a nice little melody playing. I also love that they let you go like check out the mech and take screenshots with it. There's a guy who's like, do you want to sit on the mech's shoulder? And I'm like, yeah. They really know their audience super well. How did you know that I wanted to do that? Do you want to stand next to the mech and like do a little pose? Yeah. As for the other story cutscenes associated with this, the man menacingly drinking milk seems like a pretty one-dimensional villain so far. Maybe we'll see more, but also it ended on an incredibly creepy note where he's just like, hey, little girl, love conquers all, right? And that's where it ends. So that was quite unsettling. Moving on to the Nier raid, there was a really awesome... I can't believe I'm saying this, but one of my favorite moments was actually between bosses where there's like a bullet hell you need to dodge. I had so much fun getting through that. Maybe I had fun because I play dancer, so it was absolutely effortless for me to weave through all the orbs, but that was really cool. I'd actually love to see more of that. Different obstacles between bosses. Now, admittedly, I might have a bit of a skewed perspective in terms of difficulty on this because I went in with a fully preformed 24-person group. We did not use the duty finder, so we were all in voice chat. It was fairly well organized, so for us it was pretty face roll, but I still feel like it was, even with all those considerations and even with maybe a good bit of people in the raid being quite well geared, I still felt like it was a little bit too easy. My Twitch chat was picking up on that as well. They were like, oh, is this like really that hard? There were some situations where I really felt like our raid should have wiped. Like there were a lot of people that were dead and there were a lot of people that were low health, but we still managed to come back. And for a brand new, even for a 24-man raid, I didn't really think that is necessarily good. Maybe now, whenever I try to do it with a matched party, I'll be like, oh no, this is good. But that was just kind of my first impression. One of the things that I was worried about and that I had mentioned a few times was the tone for the story content surrounding the Puppets bunker. In the copied factory part, I felt like the dwarves were just really happy-go-lucky and just a bit too humorous, almost like Hildebrandy type. Like it felt really off for what Nier typically is, like if you've played Nier. And I was happy to see that actually in this section of the Nier raid, we were at least veering more in the territory of what I would consider more appropriate tonally for a Nier collab. And the end of it left me feeling rather unsettled, and I was like, good. I feel a little like we're now in the zone of emotions we need to be in for Nier. So thumbs up for me on the story. I still was left feeling like I wanted more story, like I wanted to see more. But there was like a little plot twist there. There was a little bit of a plot twist that I was very shocked by, and I enjoyed a lot in this part of the story too. I did unlock the Dwarf Beast tribe, and the first story quests that I've seen for that were very humorous. They were very fun to watch. It was like a very, actually I started it when I was not done with the main story. I was feeling very anxious and stressed from it, and it was nice, lighthearted change of pace. I enjoyed it a lot, and I'm looking forward to see how that story progresses. There's also fantastic music in the Dwarf Beast tribe area. that alone is worth unlocking it. You do need a level 70 crafter, and there are a couple of side quest chains that you need to do first before you can unlock them too. Regarding Unreal Shiva, so I did this with my static, and well, it was mostly my static, and we are BIS, and we were in voice chat, and we're used to working together, so of course we had no problem steamrolling the fight. But I don't think that this is necessarily content that is designed for like savage rating statics. It seems to be content that's more geared towards people that are new to rating and high-end content, and I think it's a fantastic introductory content for that. That it's not quite as intimidating as something like a current extreme trial, but it's still relevant for someone like me to want to do every week. And it sinks you down to item level 435, which means that you can't overgear the fight. So this means that you need to have an understanding of how to play to get through it, because there's a reasonably good DPS check in the fight. Like, the boss will enrage if your party does not do enough damage, if not enough people know what they're actually doing on their character. And the mechanics themselves are not too challenging to pick up. There's not a whole lot to keep in mind. I'm speaking from a DPS player perspective. That's how I did the fight. If you have been shy about getting into raiding, Unreal Shiva seems like a really, really good place for you to start. I did the Faux Hollows minigame after. I felt like I did a really good job. Like, I unlocked a large illustration, and I earned a retelling, which means I can do the fight again this week and earn the right to play the Faux Hollows minigame again this week. And I only got 15 leaves, 15 little currency leaves that you use to exchange for the prizes. And the mount costs 600, so it looks like I'm going to be busy for a while. Not necessarily a bad thing, considering I got a while to wait for Bozja. As for the new dungeon, I think it should be safe for me to stream it. I will say that in terms of mechanics, that I enjoyed the second boss. There's a mechanic where she first of all, she's a necromancer, which was like, what? Because on Twitter for the past, well, ever since we first saw her art put up on the special site, everybody's been talking about how cute she is, and it turns out she's a necromancer. And she has this sick mechanic where she puts out these zombie ads and then they explode. Like, I did it with my trust, and I barely survived one of these explosions because clearly I did not put the corpse bomb in the right spot, and I very nearly died. But I enjoyed that a lot. I was like, what? The first time I saw the corpses explode. Final boss was pretty sweet as well. I loved the mechanic where, like, he makes these holes in the ground, and you gotta go hide in the hole for one of his big attacks. I just realized that probably the reason I like the mechanic so much is because I'm a bunny. That's everything that I've done so far. I still need to make sure I get my piece of glamour from the Puppet's Bunker. You can get one item from there per week, so I need to do that before reset. I need to do Ishgard Restoration. I haven't touched that at all. And I need to try to remain patient as I wait a month and a half for Bozja Citadel to get here. That's something I am very excited about. And the Moonfire Fair Festival is here, and the glamour looks amazing. There's a really cute dance emote you get from it. So, and it was very quick. It was actually, there was a little bit of a complaint many people seem to have. Like, you just have to do 2 fates and that's it. Maybe people wanted to do more fates. And for those people, hey, Yokai Watch is coming. Yokai Watch is coming on the 19th. And you're going to wish that you never asked for more fates. I promise. Anyways, funs, thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. And if you did, please consider supporting the channel on Patreon or on Twitch. You can also support the channel for free by clicking the subscribe button or by sharing this video with your fellow Words of Light. And by the way, yes, we've reached 100k subscribers. What? I can only say thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subbing and supporting the channel. I will try to put out a 100k sub special video before the month is out. I've been a little bit busy with the 5.3 stuff, but yeah, thank you so much. And that's all for me today. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.